Transformers, more than meets the eye. Autobots wage their battle to destroy the evil forces of the Decepticons.
Hello everybody, this is Toys R Us, and for this new figure unboxing and review, we're going to be looking at the Shattered Glass Starscream figure. So, what we're going to do with this video, we're going to unbox him live in a second, have a look at the entire contents that come inside the packaging, because he's got a couple of extra weapons that the normal Voyager class figures didn't have, which you can see there. So, we're going to see which way he displays best out of either of his modes. We're then going to do some comparisons with him and the original mould, which was of course Starscream himself, right there. We're then actually going to have a look at another Shattered Glass Starscream figure that came out a few years back. And then finally, we'll do some more comparisons with him and some of the other Shattered Glass figures that are along the same toy line as him. Right then, let's have a look at him. So this is a Voyager class figure, and as you can see by the free comic that came with it, because this came straight from Hasbro Pulse, this was supposed to be the third release in this toy line, but he ended up becoming last for some reason. I don't exactly know why. So it threw all the comics out and everything else like that, but I'm just glad that he's here, in honesty. So there were 5 figures, and we're going to show you them all in a second. But let's have a look at this guy then. I don't know what it is about this Shattered Glass line. I've said it in all of the videos, so I hope I don't sound too much like a broken record. I just think it's brilliant. I just love the whole concept of it. I just like, again, the whole idea of it, and the fact that, you know, Starscream is looking... It's like Starscream and Jetfire have done a complete role reversal. He looks brilliant. So there's his normal blasters. There's this sword which combines and can split into 2. We've got, of course, the standard Shattered Glass instructions, and then what we've also got here, if you have a look at this, if I get it in enough focus, you can just about make out there that that is a brilliant picture of Shattered Glass Starscream in the background. But what I'm going to do now then, I'm going to set him free from this plastic casing and come straight back to you. So here we go then, and first impressions, again, looks brilliant. I just love the colour scheme. I just love the fact there we've got this red Decepticon symbol. We've got a brilliant head sculpt. He's actually not smirking. Most Starscream figures tend to have a smirk now. He looks relatively serious, to be honest. Yes, of course, again, it is a reuse of the Siege Starscream mould, so the articulation's exactly the same. You've got all of it, the joints, the shoulders, you've got the waist swivel, you've got the hips, you've got the knees, you've got the ankle rock, and again, you've got everything which you'd expect with a new figure. Again, it just looks brilliant. I'm really liking the look of this. As I've mentioned, we've got the sword, which does actually split into 2, so I can show you that in a lot more detail in a second in different modes. And of course, we've got the 2 normal blasters. What I want to quickly do though now, because we didn't at the beginning, is again look at this box. And of course, we now know that this is the style of packaging they're going to be using for the new toy line known as Legacy. Again, it looks really good. It's a great, it's quirky, isn't it? And I think it stands out. We've got some brilliant artwork there of Starscream on the side. There he is again posing, which we're going to be doing in a second. Still is only going to take 22 steps, and we've got some more artwork there of him on the side. So what we're going to do now, we're going to have a look at him in a much more detailed way in his alternate mode and see how we can pose it with his accessories. So here we are in the alternate mode, and yep, we've seen this alternate mode quite a few times now. It is of course one of the Tetra Jets, but it just stands out instantly, and I'm sure you'll agree. I think it's got to be down to the colour scheme. It just really does stand out. Lovely use of some translucent blue plastic there. Yeah, again, it's just a Tetra Jet, but it just looks so good. Now, the additional bonus what we've got here is, of course, this sword which I showed you initially, which of course I just pulled apart. You've got 2 5mm pegs on the top of that, or dowels, shall we say, and of course you've got the standard blasters, which they all come with. But what we can do now, it's up to yourselves, to be honest. What I think would probably look better though is if we put these guns here into the forearms or the back there, like so, and then what we can do with these, we can slot these just underneath or alongside it, and then we've got a whole other dynamic and dimension of displaying these now. And of course these you can move out and around. We could literally swap them around if you wanted to as well. Let's have a quick look at what another way would look like. It just gives you, as I've just said, a totally different dynamic as to what that you can do. In fact, let's try coming in at a totally different angle. So let's use one of these holes there at the side, like so, and then the normal blaster underneath. There we go. Again, there's got to be about 5 or 6 different combinations with all the fact that there's 3 holes on each side. And if we pop that in there, how's that looking? Just different, isn't it? It just looks different. I think it looks good. And yeah, as you can already tell, I really like it. So one last thing to do, come back with me in robot mode for the final time, see what it looks like with the accessories in robot mode, and of course do some of the comparisons. Coming back at you now. So back for the final time with him in his robot mode, and this is how I'm going to be displaying him. One thing I wanted to quickly show you though is at the back of his head here, if we spin it around, you can probably just make out, yeah, there you go, you can see that translucent blue plastic again that was on the front when it was in the alternate mode. And if I shine the light right, hopefully you can make out just about that his eyes will light up. So it actually acts as a bit of light piping as well, which again just gives you that little bit of, I suppose, a bonus feature. One thing I will quickly mention about the transformation, and you'll see it in the transformation process video, is I don't know whether it's just me or whether it is just this particular mold. Everything just seems that little bit stiffer and that little bit tighter. I've had a right game with it in honesty, and hopefully it won't be too bad when you see the transformation video. So we've of course got the blasters, which we're always going to put on the sides at the top of the shoulders, because that's just the way Seekers, in my opinion, should of course display. But now of course we've got the sword, and this is the choice you've got. So you can literally, you can see where your 2 tabs are, you can click that together again very, very simply, and it will hold together there and in the blade. So you've got a choice. He's got a choice of either having a huge sword, which at the moment seems to be quite a big and quite a common thing in these figures, as we'll have a look at that in a second. Or of course you can separate it again, and you can use, again, both of the handles will allow you to put them in his hand that way. And of course, as you already know, because we've seen the 5mm dowels on the side, if you really wanted to as well, you could attach them to the side of the forearms maybe. If I just move the blaster out of the way, in fact I'll take the blaster off first, pop this in the side, and if you push that in far enough, you can still attach this then over the top of it. So again, you've got a multitude of ways that you can display, position, angle, however you want to do it. Again, brilliant stuff. And I know it's just a bonus couple of accessories, but they just, again, they make the figure, and I suppose it means that they can differentiate it slightly from the other figures that they just keep doing and using the same things over and over again. But I think you'll all agree that that is looking pretty good, and that's, I suppose, as I say, the way that I am going to be displaying him. So let's just give him some space for a second. There is of course Shattered Glass Starscream. Here is of course the original Siege Starscream, and that's of course using the same mold, which has been used multiple times now. This guy, for those of you who don't know who he is, this is another Shattered Glass Starscream. This was an exclusive for either from the Collectors Club, or I think it, yeah, rather than BotCon, but the same group of people. And that is of course using an old Combiner Wars figure. And again, there's no question which figure looks the best out of them in my opinion. So let's move these out of the way. And as I say, this was a very small toy line that they started last year, and probably should have finished, to be honest. As I say, this guy should have been number 3. Number 1 was Blur. Number 2 was Megatron. If I just stand him there like so. Number 3 is of course Starscream. Number 4 was Goldbug. I think I probably just got them 2 mixed up actually anyway, and that's probably because of the order that I got it. And then of course the next guy that we got is, and I'm struggling trying to pick him up and get him on screen, he doesn't even fit on screen at all. So there are the 5 figures that were released. I'm gonna have to pan back just so you can see that, as part of this Hasbro Pulse exclusive Shattered Glass toy line. And again, I'm sure you'll agree, they've done a really good job with it. So this concludes it. Again, I know it's a repaint and a redeco, and some people don't like to buy too many of them, but all of the Seekers are, obviously. But there you go, guys. Hope this helped you with your decision if you wanted to get one as well. I really like it, and hope you guys enjoyed looking at him too. Take care. Thanks for watching. Like and comment, and don't forget to subscribe.